Hello, YouTube Pipers. Double O Pipe here, aka Rick. I have a new cigar that I'm gonna try. I don't know if you can read that or not. It says A Fuente Reserva Don Carlos, made by hand. Time to slice off its nose. That's not too bad, I guess. That's enough for the smoke to get through. I still haven't looked into buying another one of those flamethrowers. Maybe this weekend. Still a spot in there that doesn't want to light up. This one has a sweet flavor to it, but I can't put my finger on it. It's a nice tasting cigar, though. Might not have made that draw hole big enough after all. That's a little better. I like this one. A Fuente Reserva Don Carlos. The leaf around here has a nice taste to it, too. And either I'm getting used to it, or this is not burning the back of my nose or burning my eyes. I don't know how you guys can determine individual tastes throughout this. It's just short of a Swisher Sweet, that taste when you put it to your lips. Not the smoke, but the actual tobacco itself. I even tried retrohaling and it didn't burn. That's interesting. Well, sorry I can't give you any individual tastes but I can tell you it's very pleasant. Got my cup of chaw. I think if y'all have heard any of my stories, you've heard me talk about every Christmas asking my parents to get me a BB gun. And I always wanted one. Clyde, when we were in Georgia one Christmas, he got a BB gun for Christmas, and I didn't, naturally. And we went out into the woods, and he was shooting, and I kept begging him, let me shoot that. He said, you might hurt yourself. I said, I'm not going to hurt myself. You just give it to me. I'll put it up to my shoulder like you do and just pull the trigger like you do. He said, well, you got it down pat. Here you go. And he cocked it for me. It was his old Red Ryder, his new Red Ryder, I should say. And I put it to my shoulder and aimed it and pulled the trigger, and it was spring loaded. There was a real strong spring. When you cocked it, that spring would go back and the BB would rest on the spring. Pull the trigger, that spring would jump forward and spit the BB out. Not like these new ones with the CO2 cartridges. But anyway, every year after getting to shoot his BB gun, I'd ask my parents, please get me a BB gun for Christmas. And every year they'd say, you hurt yourself with it. I said, I didn't hurt myself with Clyde's. They said, we just don't feel like you should have one, son. Every year, same thing. Ask for it, same excuse. So I'd always go out with Clyde, and we would shoot his BB gun. Silly. Well, one Christmas, Clyde got a 22. Oh, a 22. I said, I'll never get one of those. They won't give me a BB gun. So Clyde and I went out hunting squirrels. And he let me aim at the squirrel in the tree and take a shot. And, excuse me, I think I brought one down. He told me it was a gray squirrel. I don't know what the differences are in the squirrels. But he shot one and I shot one, and we walked back home just as proud, holding on to our trophy kills. And we went over to not the smokehouse, but the gourd house is what we called it, because it was just chock full of gourds that were drying out on the wall. And there was a little table in front of the door, and he put squirrels up on that table, took out his knife. He had a real sharp knife. He always kept it sharp. And skinned it. Cut it all up, got it ready for frying for Grandmama. And my cousin, one year my cousin, when we had gone hunting, came out and watched him do that. And she said, how can you tell if it's a boy or a girl? And Clyde said, you're stepping on the evidence right there. That was a boy. She lifted her foot. And two little gray testicles were under her foot, and she went screaming back to the house. Oh. This is leading up to something. So anyway, after those experiences, I still asked for a BB gun every year because I knew they would never give me a 22 rifle. And I think I was 16. And a package was under the tree, and I said, it's my BB gun. Christmas came and I opened it up. It was a 22 rifle, single shot, bolt action. And I was just astounded. And Dad took the gun or the rifle from me and handed me the safety book that came with it. And he said, I want you to read this and memorize it, and then we'll let you have your 22, and you can go out in the woods and hunt squirrels or whatever. And I was ecstatic. Well, we did that a few times, went out hunting after I had read and memorized the safety book. And I always thought every time I picked it up, he always said I could shoot my eye out. Well, I mean, I could kill myself with this one. I never understood the logic behind not giving me a BB gun, but giving me a 22 rifle. Never understood that. But I just took it as it was and went out with it and shot it all the time. I had a friend over in the neighborhood that had a 22 rifle also, and we used to go hunting. Now, back then, the time I'm talking about, this was not a very built-up neighborhood. Back there, where there's a house now, it was just a field that we would walk through to the road that was right there, facing that field. And across the road, there was a house with two women that lived there. And I knew them pretty well. They taught me how to play chess. I took my mother's collection of 78 records over there and never got them back. I always was a little peeved about that, and my mother was not happy, but like all things, you lose things as time goes on, and she accepted the fact that those records were now lost. It was such a good collection of 78s. Her collection from when she was young. Anyway, these women asked me, she said, "You have a 22 rifle, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do. My dad and mom gave it to me for Christmas." They said, "Well, how about do something for us? We got rats running out here in the canal, up and down the banks. You could see where they had made a shelf, and they ran up under that shelf and had holes dug in where they lived underground." They said, "If you kill one, come tell us, and we'll give you $1." Well, there you go. A job. So, like I say, there weren't that many people around. Over that way is the golf course, and it wasn't as heavily trafficked as it is now. And the clientele they had back then was a little more high class than what they got now. They let anybody back there now, and the hooting and the hollering and the language they use, it would never have been done back in the day, but it is now. Well, I shot a few of those rats until I didn't see any rats anymore. Got my pay for each one. Didn't have to even show it to them, just tell them. They trusted me. And I wouldn't have lied to them, so. Anyway, so, I mean, they were on the other side of the creek, and I would stand over there and plink them off. They'd flip over, land flat, and die. They weren't as big as wharf rats, but they were fairly big fellows. At any rate, since the population died off, and we stopped hunting so much, I just kind of put the 22 in the closet and forgot about it. Well, a few years later, whenever the community had built up a little bit and the golf course was a little more traffic out there, there were more people playing. And I pulled out that 22 to show it to somebody that was visiting. They said, "Let's go shoot it." I said, "Okay, we can do that." So we went out here by the old oak over there and were shooting down in the water when we used to have crabs come up in the creek. We would shoot the crabs as they came in when it was low tide. Don't know why when you're young you have to shoot live things. Don't know why you can't just have a target. But anyway, we shot, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times each. And it, you know, the gun wasn't that loud. It was only a 22, for goodness sakes. But I heard somebody on the golf course say, somebody's shooting a gun at us. I said, we better take this inside. So we came back inside and put it back in the closet. And about 30 minutes to an hour later, cop car drives into the driveway. Saw him out the window, so I walked out there and said, hello. And they said, hello. We had a call about somebody shooting at the golfers. I said, you did? They said, yeah, you hear anybody shooting out here? I said, sure didn't. Looked around like, where could they be? He said, yeah, it sounds like they said that whoever was shooting was on this side of that body of water there, and we just thought maybe they might have come up on your property and were doing it there. I said, no, nobody's been up here on my property except me and my buddy inside. They said, you sure you didn't hear anybody shooting? I said, no, didn't hear a thing. And you didn't see anybody shooting? I said, no, didn't see anybody shooting. They said, okay, maybe they were wrong. I said, I don't know. Not many people shoot around here. They said, all right, thank you. I said, thank you. You're welcome. Bye. They drove off. I came back in and my buddy was saying, man, that was close. I said, yeah, it's a good thing we came in when we did. It's not burning like it should, I don't think. Let me try that trick where you blow through it and burn off the bad ingredients. That does seem to do something. There was another time when my buddy and I were, this was before the 22 incident, we used to play up and down this creek and over across on the golf course. We used to sell Kool-Aid to the golfers on the golf course. That's how I got my first chess set. The money we made off selling Kool-Aid. But we were playing over there and we found what they call a one-armed bandit, a slot machine, and called the police and told them it was over there, and they came over and we took them over to where it was, and they said, yeah, that's a slot machine, all right. I said, you want to take it in for evidence? He said, I guess we should. And I said, why would somebody throw something like that over here in this creek? And he looked at me and said, son, I don't have any idea why somebody would do that. I thought that was something unusual because I had never seen a slot machine before. And there it was, in the mud, under the water. And why would somebody have brought it there and thrown it there? I guess they took it wherever they got it from, took all the money they could get out of it, and had to have some place to dump it, so they decided that was a place to dump it. But That was just kind of odd. I know my story wasn't all that exciting about the police coming here, but it kind of shook us up at the time. We didn't think we were doing anything wrong, and I'd been shooting up and down that creek with that 22 for years. And now somebody over on the golf course with sensitive ears called the police. Man. It was more exciting when Clyde shot up the Kentucky Fried Chicken store. I know you all remember that one. Well, I just wanted to come on, smoke another one of these because the cash over there is running down. I think I've got 4, maybe 5 left. This is another decent cigar, though. Excuse me, for somebody that doesn't smoke cigars. I like the taste of this okay. I've been highly concerned about the nicotine response in my body since that one that got me like I was woozy. Still can't determine individual flavors. But I can tell you it's a smooth smoking stick, as y'all call them. And it's worth whatever I paid for it. I'm not sure what I paid for it because I threw all the information away. But I think this was one I got from smokingcigars.com. I got 3 from them and I don't know, something like 10 or 12 from the cigar page. Y'all heard of the cigarpage.com? I used to also shoot rabbits up here. And every time I shot a rabbit and somebody was nearby, they said, "You shouldn't have shot that rabbit." I said, "Why not? We could skin it and eat it." He said, "No, you can't." I think he said they called them weevils or something. This is the season for weevils. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's a certain season you can shoot them." It seems to me like if a rodent had something in his body at a certain time of year, it would be there all year so that you couldn't shoot them all year. But yeah, they used to come up in the yard. And I thought we had a meal for the night, and I was told, "No, you don't want to eat that." So I thought, well, that was a waste of that poor rabbit's life. And I kind of stopped shooting things after that. I obviously didn't know the hunting cycles and what you could shoot, what you couldn't, what you could eat, what you couldn't. My dad never hunted when he was coming up, nor after he became an adult. He joined the Navy and worked as a stoker because he did not want to have to lift a weapon to fire at anybody. He would rather be down where the coal and the fire was than to be up on the deck with a gun. My dad was a principled man who had certain ideas, and he stuck by them by goodness. Okay, I know you're tired of me. I didn't mention the gall this time because I think y'all have pretty much gotten all the information. I haven't had anybody else request I put their name on the list. And I think it's only like 15 or 17 people. I was kind of surprised there weren't more. But I've enjoyed all the stories so far. We've had some good ones. I listened to, who was it yesterday? Let me look, hang on. I've been writing down notes. Armchair Piper, who was talking about playing cowboys in his neighborhood. They had a railway station that looked just like one of the railway stations in a Western movie. What a great place to play cowboys. Wow. That was a good story. I enjoyed that. And it reminded me of things in my childhood. That's what I love about it. I wrote something down that he reminded me of. Well, I don't know where I put it, though. I'll have to look. Anyway, got till the 15th of March. That's, since today's the 27th, that's just a couple of days over 2 weeks. Got plenty of time to make a VR. And everybody's got plenty of time to watch them and then get in touch with me to let me know what their rating on the thing was. And I appreciate everybody who has been making these VRs. They're entertaining, fellas. I think it's good to look back sometimes. Good to look back to your childhood when you were so innocent and everything was so easy. For me, it was always easy because I had parents who were very loving, and they loved each other and they loved me. And there was very little strife in the house. There was some, but there was very little. All right, folks, take care of yourselves. Thank you for coming by. Have a smoke, either a cigar or a pipe. Get yourself a beverage. And light up. Take care of yourselves. God bless you till the next time. Bye-bye.